What's good, everybody? It is Skills from Skills Reacts, and we are back with another breakdown live of Candace Owens, the only friend of Charlie Kirk's that is really speaking out and really laying it down and putting pressure on the feds and everybody that's investigating Charlie Kirk, right? So let's jump into it. She released a new live stream and video yesterday, so we're gonna go through it and see what she has to say and evaluate, see what's going on, if there's any new information, if there's anything that she may have found out with her and her team and her tips and everything, and see if we can get some more information. We're trying to see what is happening over here, because it is very crazy out there. I mean, there's just so much misinformation, so much conspiracy, so much this, that, and the official narrative doesn't match and doesn't really make any sense. So let's jump into it. This is Candace Owens. Make sure you guys go check her stream out. Make sure you guys follow, sub, all that good stuff. This is her episode. They are lying about Tyler Robinson. All right, so here we go. Let's check it out.
All right, you guys, happy Monday, and get ready because we are going on a journey. I left you guys on the ultimate cliffhanger last week. I did not intend to, by the way. I genuinely wanted to get the information out as soon as possible that Tyler Robinson is not suicidal. And I'm going to tell you how I know that. Also,
Wow.
while
the fact that they're saying that he's suicidal is kind of setting him up to be taken out, right? I mean, that's kind of what you would do if you wanted to set someone up and make them look like they can easily, you know, just unalive themselves or whatever. It's very suspicious. That's what it is. It's a red flag. All right.
investigating this assassination, there was a politician's name that keeps coming up. And now he's apparently mad that we keep asking questions. I'm beginning to think that he might know something that he hasn't yet shared. So I wanted to kind of loop you guys into this and see what you think. Welcome back to Candace.
If they don't think that the country is not gonna dig into this, like if they don't think we're gonna dig into this, they're crazy. Every single person in the country was affected by this, and we want to know what is happening.
Jeffrey Epstein didn't kill himself.
Right?
Tyler Robinson didn't kill himself. I mean, these are the phrases that we now use and that we say when we expect that the federal government is telling us a lie. Last week, I have to tell you, I was contacted by a source who I vetted with information that answered a lot of the lingering questions that we've had about the investigation. Not all of them, but some of them, some of the big ones. First and foremost, we were like, how exactly did it work? How did Tyler Robinson turn himself in, as we were told, but also never confessed?
I don't think he turned himself in. They said that he noticed he had a warrant out for his arrest and said, okay, let them come get me. I don't want to be shot, which basically means I don't want to die, right? If he wanted to, he knew that he was wanted and didn't want to get shot. He was fearful for his life, so he told them, okay, I'll go in as long as you guys don't shoot me or what. He never said I did it or what. He just says, I see you guys have a warrant out for my arrest. He never said he did it. He never admitted. He's pleading not guilty. He is saying he's innocent. So never did he admit that he was doing it. And we were sold that he told his parents, or his parents found out, and then they got him to turn himself in and admit what he did and all this stuff, when it wasn't like that. And that's what the media was kind of given to us to put down, and that is not true at all. I mean, according to the parents, he was very scared of being shot by the police and was very far from being suicidal or anything like that. There was no ideations like that. So that part was completely made up, and the sheriff is the one, I believe, who mentioned that, right?
And did he actually author those absurd Fed messages? Because I'm thinking no. Lastly, what was he doing at Dairy Queen? Doesn't really quite fit into our timeline. Also, don't expect this kid who...
The fact that we got pictures of him at Dairy Queen a couple of hours later acting like he didn't even know what was going on. You would not be showing your face at Dairy Queen if you just did a major hit. You know what I mean? There's no way you would be out there just showing your face, eating a meal, chilling like it's another day. That don't make no sense right there.
Who just tried out being a stone cold killer to really have an appetite. And why exactly did the feds withhold that information at Dairy Queen? And why are they allegedly stalking the Dairy Queen to see who comes in and out? Well, we have the story that could possibly potentially answer all of those questions. And it certainly makes a lot more sense than the slop that the government is currently trying to feed us.
I know, man.
First and foremost, Tyler Robinson has never confessed. They acknowledge that he has never confessed to this crime, and he still is pleading innocence on the shooting. In fact, I was told
he's
that he was, quote
innocent.
unquote, bewildered
Not
by the
guilty.
idea that he carved casings. I should be clear, he does not dispute the fact that it is his gun at all. It is his gun. But Tyler is not exactly a gun enthusiast. He doesn't hunt like his other brothers do. In fact, he's apparently a fisherman. The reason that he has that gun in the first place is because it is, in fact, a custom-made family heirloom. Tyler is the firstborn son, so he inherited. That's what firstborns do. They get the family heirloom. That is why he has the gun. As many of you guys have noted, the Robinson family appear to be conservative, hence the hunting and the fishing as the sports of their choosing. I am told that they are fans of Charlie Kirk and they are fans of Donald Trump, although this source noted that Tyler, like many other conservatives have expressed, wished that Trump would sometimes tone down his speech and his rhetoric. Now, on the topic of rhetoric, I am told that Tyler absolutely did not author those text messages. What text messages? He has no idea where these messages came from, believes that they are therefore entitled.
So this information's coming from the parents. This is how they're explaining what happened and how Charlie got arrested, right? And the way that the government or the media has told us seems to be the opposite effect, right, of what actually happened. He seemed to be shocked that they were blaming him. He seemed to be shocked when they had a text messages saying he did it. Like he doesn't even talk like that. What teenager says vehicle and this and that? Nobody talks like that. Everybody says car or in a car. You know what I mean? Whatever, you know what I mean? Whatever accent it is, you're gonna say the car. You're gonna say the vehicle unless you're freaking in the military or in the law, in the police or something like that. You know, so that's very strange on its own. Why they pushed us to believe that he turned himself in and confessed to doing it and all this, I don't understand that. They seem to be pushing out a lot of stuff that would kind of try to fit their narrative, but their narrative still clashes. It still doesn't work. It still doesn't make no sense. So
entirely fictionalized. It turns out, you're going to be shocked, that he doesn't actually use words like vehicle, which should come as no surprise to anyone that has a brain. By the way, I'm sure you caught this, but there's old footage of Tyler Robinson that is now circulating from a car accident that he had. And during the discussion with the officer that showed up, Tyler certainly refers to it as his car, not his vehicle, because that's how most Americans, how most English speakers refer to a car, unless they're in the military or on the police force. So here is 2022 police body cam footage, in case you missed that, of Tyler making a crash report. Take a listen.
Your mom's on her way?
Yeah, she's gonna be a minute. She's got to shuttle over from where she's at to her car and then drive over.
Gotcha.
Yep, so he definitely mentions car. He does not say vehicle. Who would say vehicle unless you were an AI or a fucking police officer, right?
His mother was going to shuttle over from her car? Interesting. There's more, of course. Of most interest to me, what I've learned is that his father does not believe, his parents don't believe that their son committed this crime.
Woo!
I was like, huh? Excuse me?
Yeah, the media spun that. The media said that the parents said, oh, that's my son. And they're saying, no, they never believed that it was him ever. They just didn't want him to get shot. And that's why they were pushing him to turn himself in so he can fight and have a trial. Because they have no evidence that it was him, because it wasn't him, right? Or possibly. You never know. So we'll see. We'll see. Crazy.
That's a far cry from what the media has been telling us. Remember, the media presented this amazing story. The father realized his son was guilty, so it goes, right? And then he phoned over a friend to help him convince his son to turn himself in, because this guy, you know, this mysterious guy was a friend and just had a connection with Tyler. And eventually they said, you got to do the right thing here. We know this is you. That was the vibe. Certainly, that's what the media was putting down for us to pick up.
That's what they told us, yep.
Well, I was told actually that it was kind of the opposite. That quote-unquote family friend.
And remember, she's getting information directly from the parents. So this is what the parents of Tyler Robinson are saying.
Who we learned was a former detective with the police force, at least, and so therefore has strong ties with the police station, informed the family. It was that in-between person that informed the family that Tyler had been identified as the shooter. He recognized him. He knows Tyler. He gives them the heads up. And then I'm told, and I believe this, that the way in which he got arrested, or rather turned himself in, was because that family friend slash neighbor slash former detective told him, hey, it's best for you to turn yourself in because there's only one of two options here. Either you turn yourself in and everything is peaceable, or, you know, the SWAT team could come in here and arrest you and things would get crazy.
Yeah.
So that's what happened. He went over to their house. Tyler was called over. Tyler was bewildered. He disputed the idea that he had murdered Charlie Kirk. In fact, according to my source, Tyler has never even stepped foot on UVU campus.
Ooh,
Tyler, it turns out,
which
is already revealed, was accepted into Utah State University, not Utah Valley. And that's actually interesting if you pause and reflect on that, because we didn't really consider how on earth Tyler became not just familiar with the layout of the campus, but familiar with the rooftop layout of UVU campus. So familiar that he knew exactly how to scale across the rooftops to duck down in order to take in almost...
So Tyler Robinson has never even been to that college. He never went to that college, never was going to go to that college, nothing like that. So how would he know the layout and everything like that without being there before? They don't have no footage of him ever being there. They have a blurry image of a guy running off a roof. Doesn't show that it's him. And that guy never has a weapon. They never show a guy anywhere near the building with a weapon. So it doesn't match. And if they're gonna say that that was the gun that Charlie was shot with, they have to connect that gun to the bullet that they took from Charlie. Now, if they got the bullet from Charlie, they can match that bullet to the gun barrel and ba-bang. But we ain't even really seen an autopsy report, right? So I don't even think it was a 30-06. I don't think that was the weapon. Personally, that's my personal thoughts. But I'm just going to present the information that is coming in to you guys, and then you guys make the decision. All right? I'm just presenting what info comes.
Impossible shot at a Charlie Kirk who was sitting beneath a tent. How did he know how to do all of that? Had he been there before? That he knew where Charlie was going to be sitting in it, that he would have that shot from on top of the Losey Center. What? Right? I would actually, and I don't know, but I would imagine that even actual current UVU students don't know that possibility.
I'm
like
not
they're
giving
not
away
even
codes,
that
though.
familiar with how to scale the rooftops and what shots they can take from it. We'll see.
Yeah, I'm going to watch it in a little bit.
Curiously, however, my source says that Tyler Robinson was nearby the campus
Appreciate
on
it,
that
brother.
day. I'm wondering if that fact, which I'm trying to learn more information regarding, explains the Dairy Queen photo. Because
And that was a couple hours right after the shooting. Now, this was a couple hours right after the shooting. Tell me how. Why would he be at a Dairy Queen like a mile up the road, bro, and just be chilling? 3 hours. 3 hours after he fucking shot. 3 hours after he made the shot, he's over there chilling, eating a meal. Nah, I don't believe that. T, my day is great, T. Yeah, my day is great. I just got up. I'm gonna do my little reaction thing for a minute, and then I'll be on the gaming channel. Everything's chilling, bruh. Everybody's doing great. My boys are at school. Everybody's healthy. We're doing good, bro. I'm blessed. Blessed. How about you, brother? Definitely blessed. I appreciate you stopping in and dropping a like, yo. I'm trying to build up this channel, so I appreciate all the support, bro. And you already know. All right.
Exactly was he around the campus on that day? This photo never made any sense. When I plugged it into my timeline, it wasn't fitting in. So if you're wondering why exactly Tyler would agree to go to the police station if he's not guilty, ironically, the police were honest that day on one of the points. Well, first and foremost, that point is Tyler is not suicidal. He wanted to go to the police station so that he didn't risk accidentally getting shot by the police swarming his home, as I said earlier, in a theatrical.
Another thing the family thought was weird is why that the sheriffs of Utah said that he had suicidal ideations, which was not the case at all. Even the parents were like, he never was suicidal. He was even in fear for his life that the police were going to come shoot him. He didn't want to be unalived. He didn't want that. So why are the police saying that he had suicidal ideations? That don't make no sense right there. That's another red flag. Yes, sir.
Arrest setting. But rather confusingly, Nate Brooksby tells us that Tyler is suicidal. Whatever. Let's just take a listen to what Nate Brooksby said.
I could give away some beta codes. You need a beta code or what, bro?
So I get a call from my friend, and his said, "Hey, how you doing?" "Good." And it's not, he's been retired a few years. We'll call each other. It's not unusual for me to get a call from him or vice versa. And at 8:02,
this is right here. This is where he says,
he calls me. Hey, I can tell his voice is kind of shaky. So my first thought is, who died? Like who's he going to tell me that died? And then I couldn't fathom what actually came out of his mouth. So he said, "Hey, I know who Charlie Kirk shooter is. I know the family through religious association."
I'll holler at you. I'll see how many, if I can get some more. See if I can get some.
And we're working on trying to get him to come in voluntarily. During that phone call, some information was provided about Tyler potentially.
Yeah, I didn't pre-order, but I have like Xfinity and a couple other things that gave us free codes.
Not to do that. And,
Game Pass and some other stuff.
That
so I might be able to get some extra ones. I'll holler at you and let you know.
Help him surrender peacefully.
I'm told that's not true. That Tyler was not suicidal at all. He was just confused and.
Hold on, I want to see that part again.
Association.
All right, this is where he says.
Voice is kind of shaky, so my first thought is, who?
Hold on. This is right here where they're saying that.
Said, "Hey, how you doing?"
That Tyler had suicidal ideations all of a sudden, right?
Good. And it's not, he's been retired a few years. We'll call each other. It's not unusual for me to get a call from him or vice versa. And at 8:02 p.m., he calls me. Hey, I can tell his voice is kind of shaky. So my first thought is, who died? Like who's he going to tell me that died? And then I couldn't fathom what actually came out of his mouth. So he said, "Hey, I know who Charlie Kirk shooter is. I know the family through religious association, and he's in Washington County now, and we're working on trying to get him to come in voluntarily." During that phone call, some information was provided about Tyler potentially having some suicidal ideation.
See?
Was in
Right
route to
there.
a remote area, Washington
That's
County.
not true at all. Why
The
did they throw
parents
that in?
convinced them
Why?
not to do that, and you know, conveyed that they would you know, stand by him and help him surrender peacefully.
That was a piece of misinformation
That's
just
not
thrown
true.
in there.
Tyler was not suicidal at all. He was just confused and didn't want to get shot. And then he gets to that part, right? He then tells us, Brooksby, that he came in willingly because he didn't want to die. Let's take a listen to that portion.
Yep.
Within the hour,
It's either one or the other. Either you want to
my
die or you don't want to die.
friend drove Tyler and his parents to my office, where he was greeted by plainclothes detectives. So that was part of the deal. Is Tyler knew it was just inevitable with all the law enforcement pressure that his picture in the news, the gun on the news. He knew it was inevitable that he would be caught. He was fearful of a SWAT team hit on his house, or he was fearful of being shot by law enforcement. So part of the negotiation and getting him to bring himself in was that we would treat it as delicate and as soft as possible to make him feel comfortable to where he would show up at my office, and that's exactly what happened.
It can't be both.
Keep in mind, he showed up because he had a warrant out for his arrest, not because he was a killer and wanted to turn himself in. He showed up because they had his face all over the freaking news, and he didn't want his fucking parents' house to get hit by SWAT and all this and possibly get shot. So he did not want to get shot. He did not want to be on live. So them saying that he had suicidal ideations is completely false. So I think that was just a piece of misinformation that was thrown in there.
Can't be both. Was he suicidal and wanting to die, or was he worried about dying? It can't be both. And I didn't catch on to that early on. The answer was he came in because he is not suicidal and did not want to get shot and was confused, as I am told. Now,
True.
You're probably wondering
That's from
why
his
the father and the
parents.
mother didn't speak
That's
out
from his
to
parents.
assert his innocence. That would make sense, right? Why don't you come right out and dispute everything immediately? Well, interestingly enough, I'm told that it's because the feds told them that if they spoke out, their lives could be at risk. Like they needed to keep things private, and they convinced the family to go into witness protection. Like, your lives are in danger. You shouldn't say anything. Somebody could, like, you know, just come back and try to harm you guys because of what your son did. You should go into witness protection and don't speak to anybody. Trust us, we're the feds, bro. And they agreed, of course, in the fog of it all. Why wouldn't you agree? But then, like any good, maybe conservative family, you start going, I don't really trust these feds. Like, I'm a little suspicious about the feds.
Right.
Here's another point of interest, okay? His father had no idea that Tyler was gay.
What?
That's what I'm told. They are learning this in and through the media. They thought that Lance...
So the fact that, oh, maybe the father turned him in because the son was gay or whatever, and he kind of had an issue with that, that whole narrative gets thrown out the window. Father didn't even know he was gay, bro. He had never came out the closet with this father.
Lance was just his roommate, and they were especially shocked because apparently Tyler kept mentioning to them that he wanted them to meet some girl that he was seeing. Now, I would like to interject my own voice here and say that I think this girl was likely Lance, and Tyler was working up the courage to tell his family that he was gay. That is what is most likely, in my opinion, because we know for a fact that Tyler was, in fact, in a relationship with Lance, because we have exclusive photos, by the way, they're about to show you, that the two of them posted to their Instagrams. Mm-hmm. This is Lance posting Halloween era photos. I forgot to post. My boyfriend is the best. Love you.
Yeah, that shit's fucked up.
Don't worry, that handle has since been taken down of what Tyler's handle was, but he's got a handle that doesn't have his name in it, so he's maybe trying to hide this stuff. And then there's
why
another
are they
photo
saying
of them.
he's suicidal all of a sudden?
This one's posted by Lance again. Pics from when Tyler had a mustache. You can see that they were in a relationship. Just makes sense that he was working up the courage to maybe tell his family about that. Now, I was told also that Tyler is off the charts intelligent and always has been. We know this. He had a perfect GPA in high school. Now, that is precisely what made the idea of him being so stupid as to author a full confessional via text messages.
Someone that's that smart isn't going to go leave
any person with a modicum of intelligence
letter
is going
like
to go,
this, bro.
I'm not going to put
That
this
is a
down in writing with
transcript.
every detail. And apparently whoever offered those messages, likely feds, didn't have a modicum of intelligence, or they would have maybe not included every single detail there. The family says that the photo of the young man that is coming up the stairs, which was shared, that blurry image,
Not Tyler Robinson.
is definitively not Tyler Robinson. And let me just say,
Yeah, that's not Tyler Robinson. Tyler Robinson is broader. His chest is broader, and he has more of like a gay, feminine kind of stance. This guy doesn't stand like that. And he seems to be a lot taller. This gentleman right here seems to be at least an inch or two taller than Tyler Robinson, and his body structure isn't the same. Tyler's body structure has like a wide chest. He has a wide chest like that, like way wide. And this guy's definitely not him.
Thought it looked like him. Neither did you. Okay, face looks different. Face looks more narrow. Also, that person looks taller. Every time I say, I'm like, this person is taller than Tyler Robinson. Tyler Robinson also appears to have full lips, even though this image is blurry. We're not looking for someone that got fuller lips, and Tyler Robinson looks broader.
Yeah, look at the difference between
walking,
that.
right?
Look at the difference between their chest. Their whole chest thing is different.
Up the stairs is not Tyler Robinson, because I feel like it was intentionally blurred. They also never gave us the footage at all, because in order to blur it, they probably needed a static image.
And where's the footage of him shooting on the roof? Where's the footage of him on the roof with a gun?
Tyler Robinson's apartment was staged after his arrest. Now, you will recall that I spoke to Lance's family. And one of the things that Lance's family said was, hey, we own that apartment. They pay rent to us. We've never met Tyler Robinson. But I can tell you that it seems like they were trying to hide the fact that this apartment got raided. And it's very strange that they immediately cleared Lance as a suspect. And I was told by other people in the department that they wanted to keep that raid very hush-hush. They didn't want anybody to know about the raid. There was no mention of this raid, and Lance immediately gets cleared as a suspect. Why? Well, according to Tyler's family, they went to that apartment after his arrest, and they felt the apartment was staged, and that intentionally in Tyler's room, a furry bed was placed, almost sort of implying that they're trying to transfer the attributes of Lance onto Tyler. And that's shady. But again, when I put together what I'm being told by Lance's family and what I'm hearing from the Robinson family through a third party, I will say that it matches. It kind of seems like they're agreeing. One family's going, hey, Lance is kind of evil. Why is he getting cleared? And the other one's going, Tyler's not this guy. Tyler is not this guy, so what the hell is going on, guys? What is actually going on right now?
Right? This shit is weird.
There's also something else that's weird that I want to mention here, and that is the unusual lengths in which the media,
this shit's crazy, bro.
They've gone through.
Why are they putting out false information?
To protect the identity of that former sheriff friend who was the one who convinced Tyler to turn himself in. Even in that press conference, by the way, Brooksby, I don't like the way he's moving. I don't like the way Nate Brooksby is breathing. I got to be honest with you. It's a vibe. For no reason at all, he feels like he has to explain.
Bro, the country is freaking falling apart, bro. This is so much. Almost every major city, there's some type of tragic event happening, bro. Look at Portland. Look at what happened in LA. Look at what happened in Washington. Look, bro, it's everywhere. We got National Guard here in New Mexico, bro, in Albuquerque. We got fucking Marines in American cities, bro. Like, what the fuck is going on over here, bro? And you guys can't tell me that this shit ain't falling apart? That there ain't something going on behind the scenes? Come on, bro. This shit is getting crazy, bro. Now you have the Department of War calling in 800 generals, and we got the EU pretty much declaring war against Russia, while Russia's kind of declaring war against the EU and NATO, which we're a part of NATO. We had to defend NATO. So that's declaring war against the whole West. You know what I'm saying? So this shit gets deep, and it's fucked up, and it's crazy as hell, but we're going to be covering it. This is Skills Reacts. Let's get it poppin'.
How we got on the phone with this sheriff friend of his. Like, nobody asked you whether or not it was usual for him to call you. He's kind of over-explaining here, in my opinion. Take a listen.
At exactly 8:02 on the 11th, I received a call from a friend of mine who happens to be a retired detective that worked for me for many years. I didn't put that out there initially. I wanted to protect.
Why wouldn't you reveal the person that brought him in?
Unfortunately, in the court documents, which is standard, he was referenced as a retired Washington County deputy. So I didn't put that out there. It was in the court docs. I was trying to protect even that information and just saying retired law enforcement in general.
Why were you protecting the person that actually brought him in? The person that actually brought him in, he was protecting. Now we know the name of him. His name is Mitchell, Officer Mitchell. But now it's crazy.
Why did you feel the need to explain to us earlier? It's not unusual for him to call me, this guy, but I'm unfortunate that information is in documents that he was, you know, formerly working for me and working with me. What do you mean? If he was formerly working for you, that would mean he was a public figure, and this should be usual. Public figures, people that work for police departments are always public, and their informations are something, their name is someone we could easily research. It's nonsense. He's weird about this.
And if he's been a police officer, he should be in the news at some point in time.
That he retired. I think a journalist asks in the audience, like, you know, that former friend detective, how long has he been off the force? And he says, I don't know if we have that clip, or maybe we didn't cut that, Skylar, but he's like, 3 years. But actually, we were able to figure out who that individual was. And it's, I feel, someone that we need to get in touch with. We've tried to get in touch with him. The name of that individual is former Deputy Mike Mitchell. Okay.
And it's very suspicious.
Deputy Mike Mitchell. Now, oddly, despite a career of 25 years in the police force, I can't find a single trace of him in old newspapers.
Wow.
So I'm looking for more information on this guy. I understand that he knows Tyler through the Boy Scouts. He's involved in the LDS church. And I think Tyler was the Boy Scout leader. That's the connection there. We were able to confirm that this Mike Mitchell lives on the block, lives nearby, as was told via other sources. And thus far, we have only been able to even see a picture of him. There's just one picture or a set of pictures that we were able to find. And that, again, which would mean Brooksby lied a little bit. I don't like a little bit of lies, because you usually have to lie a little bit when there's something bigger that you're afraid of. According to this post, he retired last January.
Wow, there he is.
On the left, you have Brooksby. I don't trust that guy. Just don't trust him. And on the right-hand side,
I don't trust either one of them.
Today we celebrated the career of Detective Mike Mitchell. After over 24
because
years
he's
of
already
serving, 24
lied
years.
and mentioned
Retiring, starting in the jail
this
back
guy's
in
very
1999.
strange.
Sheriff,
because none of his information could be found. Everything's wiped, but he had 20 years in law enforcement, but there's no information on him. Makes zero sense.
Brooksby and Detective Mitchell both had some wonderful stories to share. We would like to give our heartfelt thanks to Detective Mitchell and all who came out to give him a warm send-off. Congratulations, Detective Mitchell. This is the only trace of this guy I could find. That's weird. That is very odd. That is unusual. That is an anomaly. When you serve that long in the police force, you inevitably make it into the news. So I am asking, and we tried to reach out to this individual.
Bet you he's CIA. There's a lot of CIA
if you have
in
more information about this
Utah.
individual, if he is your Boy Scout leader or he works for your church, please send us tips at candaceowens.com. Guys, I'm going to again say here, we appreciate all of the tips, but please don't send us links to, like, you know, somebody else's video and their theories, because we're a very small team. There's literally 4 of us, and we want to get to actual tips pertaining to the questions that we're asking, that we're looking for about the individuals that we're mentioning, not other people's theories. If they have like a...
How come she's the only one out of all of Charlie's friends and everybody that Charlie took care of, and even his own company, Turning Point, how come she's the only one speaking out publicly, trying to figure out what is happening? What happened to Charlie? She's the only one. The only person that knew Charlie and considered him a friend that is speaking out publicly. That is insane.
Theory about what direction the bullet might have traveled, please reserve that to our social media handles. Tag us on Facebook, tag us on Instagram, and we'll get a look at those videos. But we really want to keep the tips lines for answers to the questions that we're coming across. And again, we appreciate you guys so much because we wouldn't have gotten as far as we have if it wasn't for that tips box. I do also want to say before we get into reading and telling you something even crazier that happened. I'm talking crazy, crazy.
This is another thing I wanted to show you guys on here. Another face that was caught in the cameras.
I'm uncomfortable with the fact that despite all of the friends that Charlie Kirk made, all the schmoozing that he did, presidents, right, department heads, I am the only person that is publicly demanding further investigation into his assassination. Why?
Why? Yep. Why?
It's totally rubbing me the wrong way. Something's not right here. Even Turning Point USA, they're just like, we've accepted. Obviously, there are holes in this narrative, and they're just like, we're gonna just keep up his show. What is going on? Actually,
Turning Point's like, oh, okay, that's what happened. All right, thanks. Boom. Let's move on.
It's rubbing me the wrong way. All right, guys. Throwing it to some of our sponsors. I tell you all the time about Preborn because I've watched way too many.
That's your sponsors. Let's go past this part.
I have to tell you about this student who I'm going to refer to as
Oh,
Nick.
this is a good one. This is a good story.
Name. I'm going to refer him as Nick to protect his identity, obviously. I came across Nick very early on in this investigation. In fact, you might recall when I shared a photo online of a person that looked suspicious. He was wearing like a black suit and black glasses, and he seemed to have...
Okay, Nick is a person that she has on the team that's on the ground in Utah that's helping her investigate this case. All right.
A strap hanging out of his bag. Here he is right here, and he was in the food court. I shared that photo because Nick had sent it to me into our tips box and said, this person looks rather mysterious. He's running through the food court. And from there, he kind of became my boots on the ground. He was like, hey, I go to UVU. I'm a major Candace Owens fan. I want to help in any way that I can. Okay. So that's how that happened. That was really, and right away, he told me on like day 2 of the investigation that he worked on Phil Lyman's gubernatorial campaign. Phil Lyman ran against the current Governor Cox, and he lost. And one day, very early on, this must have been like day 3, Nick cold calls me, and Phil Lyman's on the phone. Okay. Like I said, he ran for governor, and I was prepping for the show, and things were early on, and I was still in a very
high in the community
and I
of
didn't really know
Utah.
I was on the phone with this guy, Phil Lyman, and I was like, okay, thank you so much. I appreciate that you're offering help. And Nick insisted to me, he's a fantastic person. He has tons of resources. He knows the area. If you need any help, he can help you. Okay, great. Fast forward to me looking into the witness list, and obviously we spoke about this Tiffany Peterson Barker, that very weird clip of her with her nieces at like 4 a.m. in the morning, just speaking on Good Morning America, and her energy was just weird to me. I thought her being there was weird. Obviously, this is my podcast. I can say whatever I want. We reached out to her, and then she gave us, a ton of information, but never actually presented to us. She never sent me directly any footage that could verify that she was there when Charlie Kirk got shot, okay? And she was a bit upset that I didn't clarify that. I thought it was weird that she wouldn't just text me the footage because it didn't allow me to confirm that she was where she said she was. That's what metadata is for. Metadata instantly will say, here's where you were, at what time, and this is this person's iPhone. So I wasn't gonna lie to my audience. I just told you guys, hey, you can check her out on her Instagram. Here's her excuse. She says that this is why her nieces said that, and we sort of moved on, right?
Yeah.
But then I learned from Nick that the photo of the person who was wearing that black suit and dark sunglasses had come from Tiffany Barker's mother. I was like, well, that's weird. Whatever. And then you'll recall we learned from Tiffany when I was trying to figure out, how did you get this hit on Good Morning America? Like, did you share something that would have had them reach out? Well, then I told you, she told us, actually, Phil Lyman is the person that put me on Good Morning America. My sister ran with him as lieutenant governor. And I was like, oh, okay.
So she had a connection.
Phil Lyman got you that position on Good Morning America. You had essentially a connection there that made that happen. Don't know how I missed this. But then I learned that Phil Lyman himself was very involved in all of the communications that immediately went out about the shooting, and that
Phil
his
Lyman's
car
looking very
was
suspicious.
in the driveway of the now infamous TMZ footage, which showed the shooter walking twice that day by this house. In fact, Phil Lyman says that he had just pulled into that driveway minutes earlier and had just missed the shooter. Here he is in his own words speaking to Kayleigh McEnany. Take a listen.
I do want to linger on a moment
That's
for what you
Bill
just told us,
Lyman
and
right
I'm going to
there.
ask the team to pull back up
Right here, you got
that surveillance footage that we've gotten from TMZ, from those neighborhood cameras. You said that in that footage is your driveway, and you parked there at 11:30 a.m. We know this footage that you're looking at was taken at 11:49 a.m. So you would have been on that street, that driveway, 19
yes,
minutes.
right across. Yeah, it's not my driveway. It's my.
You
aunt's
don't have a
driveway.
gun there.
Parking
You know
lot was
what's
right-
happening right there? He's walking back, and his fucking legs fucked up from jumping off that roof and fucking his shit up. That's why he's limping. He's not limping because he has something. He's limping because he fucked his leg up when he was jumping off that damn roof. That's why he has his leg like that. If he don't have shit, you would still be able to see a 30-06.
full. He's walking in front of my aunt's house there right now, and my cousin's house is the driveway.
He's bending it completely. Look, look, he's bending his knee 100% completely. You see that? If there was a gun there, bro, you would not be able to bend your leg like that. This fool's wearing tight jeans. You can see it in the other picture while he's on the stairs. There's no way there's a gun here because you would not be able to bend your knee like that. Not with a 30-06 rifle like that. That thing's literally like 5 feet tall.
CRV in the distance that is my car. I parked there probably 10 minutes before he walked by, and I had not seen this footage till just now, and it just keeps so many things that keep linking up. It's really astonishing to me. And then we went back to this house afterwards. They thought they had the.
See, he's still bending his legs.
So I took a friend of mine. We went back to my aunt's house and said, "Well, we'll just hang out here for a while." And before long, the people were combing the backyard, as you saw. She had the footage of that, and pretty soon helicopters are overhead, and so this is very, very local to me. I mean, not only is it Utah, but it's kind of my.
So he's bending both legs right there.
And
you don't have a weapon right there.
This is really astonishing. I got up yesterday morning at 6 o'clock to drive up and meet Charlie, and I haven't been to bed since then because it's just one thing.
No, he was talking to him right before he fucking got shot.
In Utah.
Now, just to be clear, and to reiterate, 19 minutes before the shooter walks across, he had just pulled into the driveway. Phil Lyman pulled into the driveway. He says that he saw Charlie Kirk that day. We're going to get to that. Also, when he says, like, he grew up there and his family owns, we were able to determine 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 12. 10, 11, 12 homes right there. Incredible.
That Phil Lyman owns 12 homes in that block. That's crazy.
And that, his little press tour, obviously now you're like, explaining your car was in the driveway. So the issue's close to him. That kind of makes sense. Then he went on to Alex Jones and spoke about where he was when the shot rang out. And what's kind of, and I'm laughing here because it's kind of absurd, he kind of sort of blames it on these two random goth girls, maybe. Like he's kind of implying like there were these girls that were wearing black and maybe they should be taken a look at further. Take a listen.
Just yesterday, someone comes in and says, we've got video. He came off the roof. He came up here to the parking lot, got in the car with an individual and they drove away. Well, that's not the story that came, so that he escaped another route. And there are people who are coordinating this thing. I do not believe
I haven't even talked to all the witnesses.
30-06 that they showed recovered in the bushes was ever on the roof. I think it was in the bushes to start with. And now I'm not saying that Tyler Robinson wasn't on the roof. I'm not saying he didn't pull a trigger. I was in very, very close proximity. So another interesting thing, like I say, I left the front of the stage. I wanted to meet some of my friends and bring them down front. So I was clear at the east end and I heard this loud boom. I heard this loud bang. And I turned around and I'm looking like, what was that? What was that? And pretty soon some people started, running. Everyone was trying to process. And I thought, this is a gunshot, and there's going to be more of them. I thought it could turn into a mass shooting. So I go to the people closest to me. Everyone's ducking down behind the concrete retaining walls, and some of them were still kind of oblivious, but there were two people that were standing there. Two girls, very goth, very black, and And I just walked, and I stepped up to the side of them, and I said, did that not happen right here? Did you hear that? Was that right here? And they said, yeah, it was just right over there. So they're confirming, yeah, the shooter or wherever that sound came from is right here. The thing that didn't really dawn on me is that they were not running. They were not frightened. In fact, as I stepped up, I heard one of the girls, and they were talking to each other, and they're looking at these kids, looking at the scene down below them of all these people fleeing for their lives. And she says, go F yourselves. Wow. Like I say, I was not processing that. I was trying to figure out what was going on. I thought this is a separate conversation. I don't know what it is. In hindsight, as I've watched that over and over, it's like these people were not afraid.
Okay, so what I get from that is
they could have just been lefties.
He says they're looking down below, and that maybe people that are wearing black are immediately suspects. I don't know, because they were not afraid. Anyways, he also went on to a local Utah news station and spoke about how he was with Charlie just before Charlie went onto stage. Take a listen.
Phil, thanks for joining us, first of all. But I saw a picture. I saw a picture of you with Charlie Kirk, and it looks like you were like maybe right before he went on stage. Is this just like minutes before this happened?
Yeah, no, I was basically backstage, and when he came out and was throwing the hats, I was there. I was standing next to the stage, and I would have been there when the shooting took place. But
he was
meet
there.
Some of my friends, and I didn't want to just hang around. So there's a part of me that's glad that I wasn't in close proximity, and part of me that feels bad that I wasn't there, just in some form of moral, presence and support. It's such a tragic thing.
When I combine those clips, I'm kind of unclear as to where he was exactly when the shots rang out. If he was close or if he felt bad that he wasn't
said two
close.
different things, really.
He went onto Instagram that night as Tiffany was prepping her Good Morning America hit, I suppose. And he speaks further about what he was doing back onto campus and what exactly he remembers. Take a listen. Again, this is on September 10th, and it's around 11:30 p.m. at night.
Hey, it's September 10th, 2025, and I was just heading back from Salt Lake to Blanding. I'm getting a very late start. It's about 11:30.
You guys are new on the channel. Make sure you guys hit that subscribe button.
By UVU campus where Charlie Kirk was killed today, and see if I could let a few of the police officers know how much I appreciate the work they're doing. See if there's some college students here that I could rub shoulders with, more for my benefit than for theirs. But what I really wanted to share was I was very close this morning where Charlie Kirk was at, met him backstage, and we talked for a moment before he went on stage, and I was backstage as he started speaking, and then decided to go up top, and I went up to the top, and ironically was very close to where the shooter was. Apparently the shot was very loud, and I determined pretty quickly that whoever it was on the roof, and it was a 200-yard kill shot.
No, it was not.
Where was he? I don't know. I find this to be a little weird, but look, let's be clear. By no means conclusive of anything other than perhaps.
It's very shady. All the information that guy spits out, bro, is very shady. First, he's right next to the stage 19 minutes before the shot was taken. Then he's over by where the people are and said that they heard it on the roof. Like, he's contradicting himself. And he seems very suspicious to me. I don't know. What do you guys think? Let me know in the chat.
It's a strange coincidence, and maybe this is why he feels so impassioned and wants to keep speaking about it. Also, he's a gubernatorial candidate. Makes sense. This would be a political moment to show that you're a leader. And look, life is not exactly an Agatha Christie novel, right? Where the guilty party somehow inserts himself into the investigation. So I park that aside, I keep pushing, and I'm following more public leads. But also, I do recall in the back of my mind that both Phil and Tiffany Barker, and as it would turn out, another person that lives on that street with the last name Shumway, kept trying to get me to look into Governor Cox because he's, according to Tiffany, very supportive of the trans stuff. You should look into Tiffany said, into Governor Cox. And similarly, the Shumway emails were like, you should look into this Governor Cox because he likes trans. So they're open and close. That feels to me always just like Fed bait, left versus right? He likes trans people, so it has to be him. Okay. Oddly,
Come
look,
on,
I'm just
bro.
following the facts here. Nothing in my
on.
investigation has made me ask a question further about Governor Cox on that day. Nothing came up organically, so I'm not going to push it just because he's a Democrat. And actually, where I was at this process, what's that? pushing that because Governor Cox is his, sorry, I said Democrat, because he's his, he's warring with him. And that's the candidate that he wants to go after. And I actually start noticing as I'm looking into this investigation that everyone who was involved on that day, I mean, literally the person who spots the shooter on the roof, military, the person who says, oh, I just happened to be in the right place in the Flag of Halls where I saw him running, also in the military. And I'm starting to think, is it possible that this is like a military?
All these people that came out and said they seen something, a lot of them are involved in the military. That's another red flag.
Hit? I don't know, but I'd like to find out. Next came a tip that you guys saw me receive live on the show. A woman paid to say, Candace, there's more footage of the shooter on that day. And you should know that that shooter was with a woman, right? That's a tip that I received, that woman, that the shooter was with a woman, and he was seen changing clothes, and that they've cut out that footage. So I reach out to that individual, and
Where's the
name
footage
that they give me for the house that this took place in, and I'm able to confirm that this property is nearby, is owned by Lyman Branch. So now I want to be clear, I could not attach whether or not yet this individual is related to Phil Lyman, but he's been honest about the fact that his family lives around there a lot. Like, the Steele Lyman clan is here. So I was a little bit on alert, maybe like a lot of bit on alert, and I decided to just do a basic search into Phil Lyman. Like, is his family in the military? I don't know. I'm asking the question to myself, and I'm quite surprised that it's impossible for me to find out who his mother and father are. Like, I literally don't know what goes on in Utah, but it seems like a very weird thing to me that you'd be able to keep information about who your mom and dad are private if you're running for governor, right? So if
you're running for governor and if you're a political figure and you're trying to get out there in the community, all your information should be out there so people know where you come from and what kind of person you are and this and that. Why is this person that is running for governor don't have no information on him? Can't figure out who his parents are, can't figure out anything about his family, nothing. Very strange.
Simply ask Nick. I haven't shared any of this with Nick because I know that he worked for Phil Lyman, and I'm not accusing Phil Lyman of anything. I'm just like trying to actually shut that down. And he says, I don't know who his mom and dad are. I'm like, what do you mean you don't know? Okay, weird, whatever. I then decide to keep pushing on military leads that I have, people that were on the ground that day who I've confirmed were in the military. Anyways, then something insane happens. Nick calls me, and he's a little bit undone. He tells me that Phil Lyman has just showed up at his house. Now, I want to be very clear. Nick is 20 years old. He's a 20-year-old UVU student and a major super fan of Phil as of 48 hours ago. And he's very uncomfortable, and he tells me that Phil randomly messaged him saying that he was nearby in town, and asked Nick for his address, something that he never had. And Nick, quite naively, being this Phil super fan, thinks that Phil's going to come and offer him a job because he's been so on it, investigating this Charlie Kirk assassination. And that's not what happens at all. Instead, he says that he shows up, he opens the door for him, and his energy is very weird. And he's asking him weird questions. He's looking out of the window nervously. He sits down at the table. He's asking him questions about my investigation. I'm like, I shared nothing with Nick. I literally was asking him, can you go here, pick up this, whatever it is. And he is thinking this is getting weird. I said, what specifically did he say to you? Well, he tells me that Phil has also set up a time to meet with Ian Carroll. Okay, so Ian Carroll is conducting his own separate investigation. We are not collaborating.
Ian Carroll is the other YouTuber that never knew Charlie or nothing, but he is pushing hard as Candace. He's literally pushing as hard as Candace to figure out what the hell is going on, along with other YouTubers, people that don't even know Charlie, right? Because we feel like it's morally wrong, right? But check this out.
At all, but Ian Carroll publicized that he was going up to Utah because he wanted to be on the ground physically by himself. And he was reaching out to people that who had been speaking about having been there. And Phil Lyman is so gracious that he offers to give him a tour. And Nick tells me, he's like, that's really weird now because we're like,
you know what it seems like? It seems like he's trying to influence all the people that are putting out information. You know what I mean? That are putting out information or investigating this case of Charlie. Seems like he's trying to slip in disinformation, put in information, or lead them in a different direction than the direction of the truth. Right? That's what it seems like to me. That's what I'm getting out of this. And let me know if you guys feel the same.
2 weeks on from this shooting, and Phil Lyman lives 4 hours away. So that's very, very gracious of him to do, but his energy isn't good. And then he mentions Governor Cox, and he mentions Tyler Boyer of Turning Point USA, and says that, again, this is according to Nick, that Tyler Boyer and the Lyman have been speaking, and that they're, you know, really going to make Governor Cox, and I'm paraphrasing here, but apparently there's another Utah event, USU event coming up, and Governor Cox is supposed to speak, and Phil Lyman intimates that, like, you know, at this TPUS event,
state's looking real suspicious.
Look great. I'm like, what? He then tells him, I'm going to go, if you don't mind, I'm going to go take a phone call in my car. So he's just idling in a 20-year-old's driveway who just happened to work on his campaign, and he's on the phone. And he's why he's calling me panicking. He's like, I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do. I don't know what's happening. I don't know why he's being so weird. I don't know why he's asking me questions about this investigation. And I'm like, yeah, this is weird. This is very weird. So then I'm like, I'm honing in here. I'm like, what's going on? I feel like he knows something at the very least. Maybe I'm wrong, but that's how I feel.
Yeah,
and
it's very suspicious.
I begin actually searching through our tips box for anything related to Phil Lyman. Maybe somebody else noticed something or knew something or he said something, and lo and behold, very early on, someone just messaged us and said, hey, like, you should probably ask more questions about Phil Lyman, because every time I look into this investigation locally, him and his family members are popping up. And then that person tells me that his nephew had sort of done this public tour, like Phil Lyman's nephew did this public tour saying that he was going to walk the same route that the shooter walked near his grandmother's house, and that they found, you guys remember this, they found the Converse footprints
those boys
nearby
that
his
did
grandma's
that
house.
Those boys that did that were Phil Lyman's nephews? I didn't know that. And one of them looks kind of like the picture with the black t-shirt on the stairs. I ain't gonna lie. But he does have the same build, same facial structure, and he is a little bit taller. I don't know, man.
And he presented a map. Like, this is it. This is actually from his Instagram. He presents this map, and his nephew's name is Shane. And this was all public. I'm only looking at things publicly.
I don't
and
know,
let's just look at some of these
man.
posts from nephew Shane. I mean, first and foremost, he's with his friends.
Ooh, look at that. That's the one I'm talking about right there. Doesn't this guy look a little bit more like that picture, the black one? Watch, you guys will see
my
better.
grandma's
Look.
house tonight, and we retraced his steps, and we took pictures in the exact place that the security cameras caught him. I've been through this new experience for the last few days. I'm still very glad to have attended and to support Charlie Kirk and to see him. The last pic shows Converse brand footprints. And then he does hashtags, and here are him and the three friends. And by the way,
Look at this. Check this out. Look at his body type and look at his body type. See the facial structure? It's pretty similar. Now, I'm not saying it is him. I'm just saying it's more similar than Tyler Robinson. Tyler Robinson had a wider chest and he was shorter. So
looking at the front on the right, and I'm like, I don't know. I'd like to know who that is at the very least, and I'd like to know who everybody in this photo is. This is just interesting. Like, you guys are in the staircase and posting side by sides. Like, they put these side by side photos of them in the staircase, And I just was like, I need to just know more about you, and I need to know more about these two individuals who I couldn't find on his friends list. And they certainly hadn't liked the photo, or else I would have messaged them directly to figure out who they are. And yeah, I found that very strange. And so I messaged Nick and I asked him whether or not he had ever received any images or videos from Phil directly. At the very least, we can see his line of vision so I can figure out where exactly he was when the shots ran out. And I'm wondering if like we can maybe get some footage that we didn't have before when the shots ran out. And also, by the way, metadata is king. That's kind of been very, it's good to see, because then I can put it in my timeline. That's why I love metadata. I can say this exactly happened at this time. Strangely, Phil kind of freaks out. He doesn't want to share those photos with Nick. And he asks him explicitly, whose side are you on?
What?
Whose side are you on? I thought we were all on the same side. We're all trying to catch Charlie Kirk's killer one way or the other. You inserted yourself into this, got on the phone with me. I was not even trying to make any communication with you. I literally am just asking questions.
That is weird.
And now all of a sudden it's like, oh, you don't want to answer any questions. You don't want to share anything. And he tells me that yesterday, Phil Lyman just calls him and he shouts at him. Like, who the F do you think you are, kind of a deal? You know what I mean? Like, who are you to ask me for anything? I already gave my photos to Taylor Hansen. And so at that point, I was like, look, you've been great, Nick, but I don't want you being shouted out. I don't want you feeling comfortable in your own home. I would like you to just remove yourself entirely from the boots on the ground elements of this investigation. I don't think Phil is acting in a way that I perceive to be stable, given the fact that, again, he inserted himself in this investigation. And we're asking, this is my car on the street. Okay, you want to be helpful. We're asking you to be helpful. And now all of a sudden you're showing up at a 20-year-old's house and you're being weird. I don't like it. I don't like it at all. And I said I could reach out to Phil directly by myself. And I did. I reached out to both Phil and I reached out to his nephew, Shane. And I asked for them to identify the guys in that photo. Like I said, I was interested in who those individuals were because I couldn't find it on his friend list. And in response, Shane immediately takes his profile private. And Phil Lyman, leaves me on red. So I am now left in the predicament where I need to just ask the public, if you are one of those two kids that are in the photos there, I would love to ask you some questions since you publicized this tour. I mean, they even did the full video walking through where he walked. And, you know, he said, my uncle, he posted Phil Lyman. So my uncle was with Charlie. This is the video that they posted. Everything was done publicly. And now I'm like, okay, you could maybe you have something that's helpful. I want to ask you about, could you send me that photo? Could you send me that video? Could you send me all of this stuff? And now I'm getting radio silence. So unfortunately, because I need to figure out what happened on that day, I'm turning to the public to try to identify those people and anything else that you may know that may help put things together for us. Again, please reserve the tips at CandaceOwens.com for actual tips related to the questions that we are asking, not for just comments.
Tell you one thing, bro. This shit is getting more and more weird every day. It seems like we're getting farther and farther away from the truth. I don't know how you guys feel about this, but I really feel like we're getting farther and farther away from the truth. We ain't getting closer. None of that, bruh. None of that. Very strange. Very strange, you guys. Very strange. Now, I want to look at one more thing once we're done with Candace.
Those sorts of things, videos that you'd like me to watch or things that you'd like to do to point me into a different direction, please just tag us on social media so that we can try to manage this process better.
Hey,
anyways, you guys,
appreciate it, brother.
A lot of weird stuff going on. Just need to.
Okay. So I wanted to share this one.
Of most interest to me, what I've learned is that his father does not believe, his parents don't believe that their son committed this crime. I was like, huh? Excuse me?
Yeah, we already seen that.
That's a far cry from what the media has been telling us. Remember, the media presented this amazing story. The father realized his son was guilty, so it goes, right? And then he phoned over a friend to help him convince his son to turn himself in because this guy, you know...
Yeah, the way that they're spinning the narrative is just so crazy. I never seen so much disinformation on one subject. is insane. Check this out.
And those roofs, you guys didn't check? You don't have a drone? Like, that's insane.
Shout out to Joe
I'm
Rogan.
not saying this guy isn't insane. He's clearly insane, and or not, or he's professionally insane.
Joe Rogan just exposed terrifying secrets about Charlie Kirk's shooter, uncovering dark truths and hidden motives that shake the entire narrative of what really happened.
He set it up in a way that, like, okay, you're saying something that's actually factually inaccurate, according to the narrative. Now, let's be real clear. I don't necessarily think they know what's going on yet. There's a lot of weird going on with this.
I know.
First of all, there was that one guy who was the decoy. All right, so you got this guy who's an older guy who starts yelling out. Didn't he take his pants down? Took his pants down. This guy was at 9/11. He was at the Boston. He called in a fake.
Bro, that decoy, that dude, that old man that got up right after the shot and was like, I did it. That guy wasn't just a decoy in this. He was a decoy in like 4 other major events, bro. 9/11, the Boston bombing, all kinds of different major events where intelligence agencies were involved, and he was a major decoy. How is that? What are the odds of that? That means he seems like a professional decoy for intelligence, right? I mean, come on, bro. It's pretty obvious. It's pretty obvious. This dude is at every single attack, terrorist attack that has happened in the United States in the past 20 years, bro. He's been at every single one. The fuck? What the fuck?
Place. And then he did this at this thing. Right after, so somehow or another, this guy has the state of mind that the moment someone gets Boston, he called in a who's an older guy who starts yelling out. Didn't he take his pants down? He took his pants down. This guy was at 9/11. He was at the Boston.
Wow.
He called in a fake at another place, and then he did this at this thing. Right after, so somehow or another, this guy has the state of mind that the moment someone gets, he yells out and says, I did it, and takes his pants down.
And the moment that he gets arrested, I mean, the moment that he gets turned out that he's not the shooter, he gets arrested for child stuff. Isn't that weird? I think that's very strange. So now that he's arrested for child stuff, you can't even interview him or anything.
Something like that. I don't know exactly what he did.
That is very suspicious to me. The whole thing.
Joe asserts that the man who distracted police during the Charlie Kirk shooting was almost immediately arrested on child porn charges, calling it a chilling glimpse into the kind of people orbiting around the tragedy.
Then, ready for this? He gets arrested for child right away.
Right after this happened?
Oh, right away. He's in jail for child. Why is that? Well, now you can't interview him. Because when the internet people start going, how are you at all these different things? Like, what are the odds? Like, if someone ran it through one of the ChatGPT perplexity things, like, what are the odds that this guy would be at all those different events and be involved? Like, 0.
I just like that the pants down part is just insane to me. It's like, why is your out, dude?
I did it. I'm not saying this guy's insane. He's clearly insane. And, or not. Or he's professionally insane.
Right.
That's where it gets...
I seen the footage. He was climbing down the stairs. His pants fell down. He didn't, like, take his pants down. His pants fell down in the commotion while everybody was running.
Really?
I almost texted you when the Charlie Kirk thing happened because my antennas went up about... They showed the photo of that kid, or the guy that they have, the 22-year-old, whatever. And I was almost going to be like, dude, you think he's got the capability to do that?
Yeah, well, listen, there are people that look like that have the capability to do that.
Pretty accurate.
Nope.
No?
Not hard. Not hard at all.
Hard.
Let me dispel that.
Okay.
Let me dispel that. Okay.
Joe warns it's not hard to shoot someone from 200 yards. stressing how disturbingly achievable the violence was and how little distance protects a target.
200 yards from a prone position with a dead-on rifle. So if you have a dead-on rifle, so you set this rifle, you set your 0 to 200 yards, right? You know how far you're going to shoot. It is not hard at all.
He shot a lot?
You don't have to shoot a lot. So I could do it tomorrow.
If you're no, but you are experienced.
No
if it's someone that's never could they do it?
I'm sorry. No, I can't agree with Joe Rogan right there. I don't think anybody could have took that shot and hit it first time. There's no way, especially with that weapon, that scope, especially how far back the scope was. And I'm sorry, you'd have to practice and practice and practice to be able to hit that.
100%. Not if they've never. They wouldn't know where to look. They'd have a hard time acquiring.
I'm gonna
when
do
you
that.
look through a scope.
We're gonna get on here pretty soon. I'm almost done with this one.
You gotta know the distance that you have to be from it to really line it up in your sights. But you could get a guy like my friend Andy Stump, who was a sniper in the SEALs. You could get him, and he could show you how to do it in an afternoon, and then you could hit steel at 200 yards every time you pull the trigger.
One day you could learn.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Not that hard.
Because it feels insane to me. I'm like, that seems tough.
It seems tough. It seems tough. We still haven't figured out whether or not that Trump had a sight on it, because we weren't sure if it had a sight on it or if this guy was using iron sights. That was 140 yards. If you shot it with iron sights, that's a lot harder, because iron sights is you're lining up. So you have these two things in the back and there's one thing at the front of the barrel, and you got to line those up perfectly, and that's how you stay accurate. That is a lot harder to do.
It's like old shotguns have those, right?
Sure.
Yeah.
Pistols.
Yeah,
like
pistols
you buy a
got them.
Glock, that's what it comes with.
Right.
But this kid had a rifle with a scope.
Yeah, could have been.
Now here's where it gets weird. The first images of this rifle with a scope, I swear to God, it looks like he has a composite stock.
I don't think he was shot with that weapon,
like a modern 30-06 rifle.
I don't think he was shot with the 30-06, because if he was shot with the 30-06, his head wouldn't have been there. It would have hit him in the neck. It would have ripped his whole neck off, and his whole head would have been hanging. There's no way that bullet was a 30-06. There's just no way. Yeah, there's definitely no way. And for the fact that you never see him with the weapon, and that the sound came from the left of Charlie, and that the bullet is angled the way that it's angled, like an exit wound is coming from the left side of Charlie. I think the shooter was on the left top of the roof, the left side, on a whole different roof than they're saying that Tyler was on. I don't believe he was on that roof. And we need to see the autopsy. They haven't released no information. They need to release the autopsy. They need to release the ballistics. They need to release all that stuff. Once the discovery comes out, and they need to get all the witnesses and question and investigate all the witnesses. They're not doing that. They haven't even identified. Yesterday's hearing, they haven't even identified all the witnesses. They haven't even asked the witnesses questions. They haven't even said anything. There's people that said they seen a guy in tactical uniform, right? And that took off running right when the shot went off. So how come you're not talking to that witness? Like, there's just so many holes in this story. It's crazy.
So a 30-06, so that's the rifle. 30-06 is like, that looks like a very modern looking stock. I mean, it might not be. It might be just a bad resolution. It might be wood. It's hard to tell. But if you showed me that and you said, hey, this is my cousin's rifle, is this any good? I'd be like, looks like a standard bolt action rifle, looked like a sophisticated modern scope on it. Sure. Now, apparently, the narrative is that this is his grandfather's rifle from World War I and doesn't have a serial code.
No, that's not a World War I rifle.
Okay.
Interesting.
Joe questioned why the shooter was using such an old World War I era gun, suggesting the choice itself raises strange and unsettling questions about motive and planning.
Why are you using such an old...
No.
Like, that's kind of crazy. Like,
the reason why they're saying that it was an old gun is because they want to say that the bullets were old and that's why it didn't function like a real 30-06 and that's why it didn't blow his head off. And that, you know what I mean? That's why they're trying, I think they're trying to push that narrative, that disinformation.
Is it possible that an old one can be that accurate? If you have a gunsmith and they work on it, yeah, it's totally possible. You have a really good gunsmith and he sets, if you're like a nostalgic person, you like driving an old car, you could bring it to a mechanic, they could redo the brakes.
Sure.
So if you had a good gunsmith and he took a look at that and the action was true and, you know, the bore is good, you know, yeah, you could conceivably for hundreds of years, right? They don't necessarily go bad.
Right, they don't expire.
Right, and especially because all the stuff like the trigger and the action and all that different stuff is replaceable. So you can just like it's compartmentalized. It's components. That's the other thing.
Yeah.
They said that he took it apart and then put it back together again.
No.
Shut
no,
the
he didn't.
up. Do you know how much time it would take to do that if you were highly skilled?
To disassemble it.
Disassemble a rifle so that you can get it in a backpack. And by the way, not gonna fit.
It still wouldn't fit.
And
It
then
still wouldn't fit in
somehow
a
or another
backpack.
reconnects it.
That's another thing that's false. Even if he disassembled that weapon, it still wouldn't have fit in his backpack. There's no way. That thing would have still been 3 feet.
Once he gets off the roof? What?
Is that what they pitched, huh?
Yeah. And then he's supposed to get it in that stupid backpack. It's literally, it makes no sense.
Look at that. Look how big it's sticking out of the backpack. That's with it taken apart. That's with it taken apart, bro. Look at that. Insane.
And the elevator music was a nice touch, by the way.
Yeah.
Wasn't it?
So this is just a narrative, right?
Yeah.
We watch a guy jump off the roof, and then we supposedly find this rifle. So if you can have a guy that's in the audience that's yelling, "I shot him, now me. I shot him, now me," and then that guy gets arrested for child charges, like he's like, what is going on here?
So
and then you
weird.
find this rifle, and then you say, oh, he assembled it and he reassembled it. Like, okay.
Joe
The
claims
amount of
none of it makes
disinformation is
sense.
crazy,
that
bro.
a kid with no
Crazy.
military training could fire with such accuracy, leaving more questions than answers about how the shooting really unfolded.
None of these things make any sense to me. Like, you're telling me that this kid who's not military trained, this guy, first of all, how did he get to the roof? How come nobody was looking? How come nobody was like, there's a direct line of sight between where he's sitting and those roofs? You guys didn't check? You don't have a drone? Like that?
The thing is that there was all kinds of people on the roof. There's 4 different shots of different people on different rooftops. So how come those people on the rooftops never seen the other guy cross on the roof? Like, it doesn't make any sense, bro. None of this shit makes sense. There's so much disinformation. It gives me a fucking headache. I ain't gonna lie.
That's insane. So he's on the roof. He jumps from the roof. He jumps down 14 feet.
Yeah, we saw didn't they have video of him jump? Somebody had a cell phone video of him jumping.
There's
down,
a video
right?
of him jumping. So this guy, whoever it is, jumps off of the roof and lands, whether or not he's even the guy who shot him. Maybe he thought he was gonna shoot him. Maybe he's a patsy. Maybe he did it.
I feel like he's a plant. Did you see the video? Did you see the person doing the investigating on his mom's Facebook?
No.
You haven't seen this? Have you seen that, Jamie?
Ooh.
It doesn't make any sense. Like, the more they keep looking into it, the more they're like, this doesn't feel like a real... It feels super fabricated.
But here's the thing. Just like I was talking about when people are arguing on social media, it's all part of the plan. If you want people to lose all faith that anyone is going to solve anything, you add a bunch of... If you're going to... You add a bunch of other wacky that doesn't make any sense, and you spam it out there at the same time. You leave that didn't...
That's called a disinformation program, all right? That's a disinformation program. In order to discredit anything, you just throw out and spam a whole bunch of crazy, out-of-the-world information that doesn't even make sense, that goes along with the subject, and have a little bit of truth in it, and have it spun to 100 million different things, and then nothing could be proven. Now it's mixed in with a whole bunch of bull. You know what I'm saying?
Do it
right
out in the woods. You do a bunch of like that. You get some kid who has a boyfriend who's a furry, and you
His boyfriend is a
talk to him on
furry?
Discord. I think he's a furry.
Is
I
that
don't want to disrespect.
I don't know if that's a
He's
real
definitely
thing.
His boyfriend's definitely a guy who became a girl.
And wears furry stuff.
There's going to be a lot of people celebrating this. It's so scary.
Wow.
It's so dangerous too to celebrate or to in any way encourage this kind of behavior from human beings.
Yeah, it's fucked up.
He's not a violent guy who's talking
fucked up,
to
you guys.
people on
That's
college
fucked
campuses. Wasn't even particularly rude. Who's tried to be pretty reasonable with people.
Yeah, he really did. He was never really rude.
He's a very intelligent guy.
Yeah. Yes, people were rude to
whether you
him,
agree
and
with
even
him or
then,
don't.
he wasn't
And
rude.
there's a lot of stuff that I didn't agree with him on. That's fine. You're allowed to disagree with people without celebrating
Nobody's
the fact
gonna
they
agree
got.
with everybody.
You can't
100%
disrespect his
of the time.
passion.
Yeah. Well,
You know?
what you're supposed to do with a guy like that, if you're opposing him, is debate him.
Right.
Have a conversation where your argument is more compelling than his.
Sure.
That's what people should be celebrating. Discourse. You know, we used to do that.
Do some homework and bring it to the table.
Yeah. Yeah, it's horrible. It's horrible. This podcast's been a lot about violence, man.
It has, but not this kind.
No. People are so divided in this country. They're so divided, and there's so many people that love
that's
it.
That's what I was saying when this first happened. I noticed this, that all this event, or I mean not event, this tragic event did was cause a huge, major division in our country. Now, there was a little bit already of a division, I mean a pretty good sized division, but this blew it out of proportion and radicalized everything. You know what I'm saying? Now you got people that literally hate the other side because they believe the other side did this. And you got that side hating what they stand for because of the way they think things should work. And it's like, now you have this huge division in our country. And I think that was the goal, right? Doesn't it seem like that was the goal, was to cause this major division in the country right when things are fucking going crazy around the world? When we're really almost about to go to war and all this crazy stuff, now you're destructing the country from within. Very strange to me. Seems planned. It really
For
does.
having a different opinion from somebody else.
Yeah.
Different ideology from somebody else.
It's a lie. Joe Rogan exposed shocking truths about the Charlie Kirk shooting, revealing what the media refuses to admit.
Another condition the suspect had was that plainclothes detectives would be the ones to escort him inside the sheriff's office rather than a SWAT team. So an hour later, that is what happened after his parents and that family friend drove him over. The sheriff described the suspect's demeanor as
You can choose to raid the caravan.
Quiet and somber.
You can choose to guard it. This is a game where slaying.
Quiet and somber.
The only reason why he turned himself in is because his face was all over the news and he didn't want to be shot. That's why he turned himself in. Not because he did it, not because he confessed, none of that. Matter of fact, he never confessed and he's pleading not guilty. Just to let everybody know.
When he arrived and during the 2.5 hours that he was there until law enforcement came and picked him up and brought him up to Utah County. As for his parents, the sheriff said they've been advised to lay low for a long time for their own safety, just because of the amount of threats that have been coming into the area for anyone with the same last name.
This has just happened. We just found out that Charlie Kirk got
awful.
And is he?
No, I don't think so.
Joe Rogan asserts that murdering someone simply for having a different opinion is totally unacceptable and a dangerous sign of where the culture is headed.
I've been looking. I haven't seen anything that said confirmed.
For having a different opinion from somebody else.
Yeah.
Different ideology from somebody else.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's messed up.
I mean, I don't know.
Beliefs that didn't
who
align.
did it or,
Yeah.
I'm
He's
sorry?
dead?
Yep.
Rest in peace. Jesus. 27 years old, maybe? 30?
Do they even have a suspect?
I don't know. Well, that's why I'm literally trying to track it all on Twitter, and it's all.
Nobody deserves it. He doesn't deserve that. Nobody deserves that.
So Were you saying that
Oh, he's on with
MSNBC had the
Charlie
crazy
Sheen.
take on it? What was their take?
Well, why does something like that have to be spun?
Their ideology.
No, I know, but I'm just saying it's like.
I mean, they want to try to pin it on a Trump supporter with a crazy Trump supporter with going wacky. We don't know if it was a supporter off in celebration, because you know they do.
Right.
A lot of folks are just constantly out there off at large gatherings in celebration.
Yeah, 4th of July, you can't leave your house.
Joe Rogan warns that many will celebrate Charlie Kirk's death, and he calls it a tragic.
Bro, this shit is so messed up. So messed up. Well, I think that's pretty much everything we got for today, though, you guys. I will be back live tomorrow, 12 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. And I'll see you guys on the next one. Make sure if you guys are new, you guys hit that subscribe button, drop a like. We're going to be trying to go live at least 3-4 times a week on this channel. So I appreciate everybody that's supported the channel and came by, dropped a like, supported. So, yep. Appreciate everybody. Make sure you guys have a great day. And if you guys want to watch the live stream that I'm going to have in a little while, if you guys enjoy gaming and Call of Duty, stuff like that, go hit up the gaming channel, Skills One Gaming. And we'll see you guys on the next one. Peace.